Torremolinos, a vibrant coastal town on Spain's Costa del Sol, basks in golden sunlight that illuminates its bustling streets and sprawling sandy beaches. Each summer, it welcomes thousands of visitors seeking relaxation and joy. Yet, behind the town's dazzling beauty, a horrific secret lay hidden for nearly a decade. Sibora Gagani, a young woman born on September 14, 1991, in Tana, Albania, vanished on July 7, 2014, leaving her family and friends in anguish and disbelief. No one could have imagined that her body was concealed behind a wall and her death would unravel a brutal crime. A cunning perpetrator and a long journey toward justice. Every mystery, every unanswered question will be unveiled in the case we are about to explore today, to shed light on the horrific crime concealed for nearly a decade. Let us now embark on a journey to unravel the chilling details, exposing the cruel actions of a cold-blooded killer lurking in the shadows. Sibora Gagani grew up in a family of Italian and Albanian heritage in the small town of Tana, Albania, born in a region facing many challenges in the early 1990s. Sibora carried a burning desire to reach beyond her circumstances from a young age. Described as intelligent, with bright eyes and a radiant smile, she was always full of energy and dreams. Her mother, a resilient woman, raised Sibora and her sister Kseva with love and high expectations. The family frequently moved between Albania and Italy, where they had relatives, and Sibora quickly learned to adapt to new environments. As a teenager, Sibora dreamed of a life of freedom where she could forge her own future. In 2009, at the age of 18, she met Marco Gaio Romeo, also known as Marco RG, a 30-year-old Italian man. In Nettuno, a coastal town near Rome, Marco, with his polished appearance and charismatic voice, quickly captured Sibora's attention. He spoke of grand plans, promising a prosperous life and a happy future together. To a young woman like Sibora, Marco seemed like the ideal partner, someone who could share her dreams. Their relationship developed rapidly, though young. Sibora began thinking about marrying Marco. She shared her plans with her mother, and while the family had some concerns about the age gap, they did not object. They saw Marco as a mature man with a stable job who appeared to genuinely care for Sibora. However, beneath his flawless facade, Marco hid a dark side that no one could have detected at the time. In 2010, seeking new opportunities, Sibora and Marco decided to move to Torremolinos, Spain. The Costa del Sol, with its thriving tourism industry, was an ideal destination for young people looking to start anew. They rented a small apartment in the lively Calvario neighborhood, close to the heart of Torremolinos. Sibora quickly found work in the hospitality industry, a field that suited her dynamic personality and communication skills. She learned Spanish, made friends with colleagues, and embraced her new life. The last photos of Sibora, cherished by her mother, showed her standing on a Torremolinos beach, beaming with a radiant smile under the sunlight. But the happiness was short-lived. Cracks began to appear in Sibora and Marco's relationship. Marco grew increasingly controlling, frequently arguing with Sibora over trivial matters, according to her mother. Sibora confided that she felt suffocated in the relationship. Marco disapproved of her spending time with new friends, and his outbursts made her uneasy. By early 2014, after months of enduring this strain, Sibora decided to end the relationship. She moved out of their shared apartment, rented a new place, and began rebuilding her life. Still, she maintained some contact with Marco, perhaps reluctant to cut ties completely or because he persisted in trying to win her back. On July 7, 2014, Sibora sent a final WhatsApp message to Marco. The content of the message was never disclosed, but it was the last sign that she was alive. After that, she vanished completely, as if erased from existence. Sibora Gagani's disappearance plunged her family into panic. Her mother, who regularly spoke with Sibora over the phone, grew alarmed when she heard nothing from her daughter for days. Sibora was not someone who would cut off contact without warning. She always called home to share updates about her job, friends, and plans when the family's calls and messages went unanswered. Sibora's mother reached out to Marco to ask about her whereabouts. Marco responded calmly, claiming that Sibora had left the apartment, taken all her belongings, and he had no idea where she had gone. He said they had broken up, and she might have returned to Italy or moved elsewhere in Spain. His response raised suspicions, but the family had no evidence to accuse him. Sibora's mother reported her missing to the Italian police and through international channels. The case was referred to the Torremolinos police. The Spanish police launched a preliminary investigation. They began by questioning Marco, the last person known to have been in contact with Sibora. He reiterated that Sibora had left on her own, and he had no further information. The apartment in Calvario, where they had once lived together, was searched, but no signs of a crime or struggle were found. Investigators also interviewed Sibora's colleagues and friends in Torremolinos, who all described her as hardworking, friendly, and unlikely to vanish without reason. An early police theory suggested Sibora might have returned to Italy or Albania without telling anyone. Her family firmly rejected this idea. Xeva, Sibora's sister, insisted that her sister would never leave without a word. They also pointed out that Sibora's passport and personal documents remained in Spain, with no evidence she had left the country. The police checked Sibora's bank accounts and phone records, but there was no activity after July 7, 2014, or 2014. Calls to her number went straight to voicemail. Another clue emerged when Sibora's phone was found in the old Calvario apartment, but it contained no useful data. Marco claimed she had left it behind before departing, which only deepened her family's suspicions. The investigation quickly hit a dead end, with no witnesses, no security footage capturing Sibora's final moments, and no physical evidence to pursue. The Spanish police, though keeping the case open, could not make progress. Meanwhile, Sibora's family tirelessly continued their search. They collaborated with SOS Desaparecidos, an organization dedicated to finding missing persons, to spread the word about Sibora. Posters bearing her smiling face were plastered across Torremolinos, Malaga, and even in Italy and Albania. But as months turned into years, no leads emerged, while Sibora's family anguished over her disappearance. Marco Gaio Romeo carried on with his life in Torremolinos as if nothing had happened. He began a new relationship with Paula, a 28-year-old Italian woman, and even had a child with her. Marco worked in construction and services, maintaining an outwardly normal life. However, police records later revealed he had a prior conviction for gender-based violence in Italy before moving to Spain. Marco was a complex figure. On the surface, he appeared courteous, articulate, and adept at winning people over. But beneath this facade lay a controlling, quick-tempered man who could not handle rejection. Colleagues described him as moody charming one moment, aggressive the next when things didn't go his way. These traits, overlooked at the time of Sibora's disappearance, later became critical clues to understanding his motives. From 2014 to 2023, Marco lived a double life. He cared for his son, built a relationship with Paula, and avoided police scrutiny, but his violent tendencies persisted. Paula, like Sibora, began experiencing arguments and controlling behavior from Marco. By early 2023, their relationship had deteriorated, and Paula decided to end it. This decision, much like Sibora's 9 years earlier, triggered a chain of events leading to another crime. On May 17, 2023, a horrific murder took place in the La Carihuela area of Torremolinos. Paula, Marco's girlfriend, was found dead in her apartment with 14 stab wounds. Neighbors reported hearing screams in the early morning, and some saw Marco leaving the building shortly afterward. The police quickly identified Marco as the prime suspect and arrested him that afternoon. During interrogation, Marco admitted to killing Paula but claimed it was self-defense. He alleged that Paula attacked him during an argument fueled by heavy alcohol and cocaine use. He confessed to taking her life, claiming she was agitated because he owed her 50 euros and had discovered his infidelity, leading to a dispute. He said he stabbed her to protect himself. However, The number and severity of the wounds suggested a deliberate act far beyond self-defense. Investigators also learned that Marco and Paula had recently broken up, and the murder occurred just days after Paula refused to reconcile with him. But the pivotal moment in the interrogation had nothing to do with Paula. As Marco was led through the hallway of the Torremolinos police station, he noticed an old poster still pinned to a bulletin board, featuring Sibora Gagani's photo and the words, "Missing Person." According to police sources, Marco suddenly spoke up, telling investigators he knew where Sibora's body was. He claimed she was hidden behind a wall in the old Calvario apartment and even offered to lead police to the exact location. Marco's sudden confession stunned the investigators. Sibora's disappearance, largely forgotten after nearly 9 years, now faced a major breakthrough. However, Marco did not immediately confirm his statement in court, and investigators had to proceed cautiously to verify his claims. On Saturday, May 20th, Marco, aged 45, was formally presented in court. He exercised his right to remain silent, responding only to questions from his defense attorney. The attorney requested a psychiatric and toxicological evaluation for his client. During this hearing, Marco made no mention of his prior disclosure regarding Sibora. The court ordered Marco's temporary detention without bail while investigating the murder charge in the context of gender-based violence, and he was required to undergo a drug detoxification protocol on the same day. The court also noted the reopening of the investigation into the disappearance of Sibora Gagani, which occurred 9 years earlier. On June 6, 2023, Spain's National Police, in collaboration with the Specialized and Violent Crime Unit, searched the apartment in the Calvario neighborhood on Garcia de la Serna Street, located just meters from the police station and town hall. The apartment was now occupied by new tenants. Guided by Marco's information, investigators used X-ray equipment to examine the apartment's walls after hours of searching. They detected an anomaly in the structure of a living room wall upon breaking through the bricks. Investigators uncovered a sealed cavity. Inside was a wooden box containing Sibora Gagani's body. Wrapped in plastic and a sleeping bag, the body was covered in lime to slow decomposition, and a blood-encrusted knife was found nearby. Additionally, some of Sibora's personal belongings, including clothing and a wallet, were present, along with a wilted bouquet of flowers placed on her chest. The initial autopsy revealed that Sibora had been stabbed at least 4 times in the back. With wounds deep enough to be fatal, the knife found in the box was identified as the murder weapon. Investigators also detected traces of acid on the body, suggesting Marco had attempted to dissolve it but failed. The body was sent to the Institute of Legal Medicine in Malaga, and on June 21, 2023, DNA testing confirmed it was Sibora Gagani. The discovery shocked the Torremolinos community. Mayor Margarita del Cid declared a day of mourning, offering condolences to the families of Sibora and Paula, and emphasizing that both victims deserve to rest in peace. Sibora's family, particularly her mother and sister Xeva, finally had answers after 9 years of agony, though the truth was too brutal to bear. Based on the evidence and Marco's statements, the crime and concealment of Sibora's body can be reconstructed. Around July 7, 2014, after Sibora sent her final WhatsApp message to Marco, a meeting likely took place at the Calvario apartment, according to the autopsy. Sibora was stabbed 4 times in the back, possibly in a sudden attack when she was unprepared. The wounds were inflicted with significant force, indicating intent to kill. The knife, found with the body, was an ordinary kitchen knife, likely already present in the apartment. The motive for the murder appears rooted in Marco's rage over Sibora's decision to leave him. With a history of gender-based violence, Marco could not tolerate rejection. Sibora's choice to end the relationship, move out, and start a new life likely provoked him. Psychologists later analyzed that Marco exhibited controlling and violent tendencies toward women who defied his wishes, a pattern repeated in Paula's murder. After killing Sibora, Marco faced the challenge of concealing her body. He chose to hide her within the apartment, a bold yet effective decision to avoid detection. According to the testimony of an Italian builder from Benalmádena, an acquaintance of Marco, Marco hired him to construct a false wall in the apartment. The builder, upon learning about the case through the media, voluntarily approached the police on June 7, 2023 to provide information. The builder recounted that Marco contacted him around the time of Sibora's disappearance, requesting a cavity be built between two walls in the living room on the first day. Nothing seemed unusual. However, when he returned the next day, he noticed a large plastic bag placed in the cavity. When he asked Marco about its contents, Marco vaguely responded that it was something he didn't want anyone to know about. The builder, unsuspecting, completed the job and left. The plastic bag contained Sibora's body, wrapped in a sleeping bag and covered with lime to slow decomposition. Marco also used acid in an unsuccessful attempt to dissolve the body. He placed a bouquet of flowers on her chest, an act that could carry complex psychological significance, possibly reflecting remorse or a twisted way of honoring his victim. With the body concealed, Marco resumed his life as if nothing had happened. He told Sibora's family she had left, and he even moved in with Paula. The Calvario apartment was rented out again, with new tenants unaware of the horrific secret. Marco maintained his silence for nearly 9 years until his arrest for Paula's murder. Marco Gaio Romeo, 45 at the time of his arrest, was a cunning and manipulative perpetrator. During the investigation, he provided multiple conflicting accounts of Sibora's death, complicating the investigators' efforts. After his arrest for Paula's murder, Marco admitted to killing Sibora and hiding her body behind the wall. He described in detail how he used acid to attempt to dissolve the body and how he constructed the wall to conceal it. This confession, though unexpected, was the critical breakthrough that led to the discovery of Sibora's body. At a court hearing on January 30, 2024, Marco changed his story. He claimed Sibora was killed by 4 members of an Albanian mafia over a €25,000 debt she couldn't repay. According to his testimony, these men came to the apartment, stabbed Sibora to death in front of him, and forced him to hide the body out of fear. Marco said he only knew the name of one of them but refused to disclose it, citing concerns for his son's safety. This account was dismissed by investigators and Sibora's family's lawyers. There was no evidence of any debt or mafia involvement. Moreover, Marco's admission to building the wall and using acid indicated a deeper involvement than someone acting solely out of fear. On January 1, 2024, Marco sent an 18-page letter from Huelva prison to the investigating judge. In it, he detailed the deaths of Paula and Sibora, claiming he had found a relationship with God and was seeking redemption. Regarding Sibora, he maintained he did not kill her, but admitted to hiding her body and expressed remorse. The letter did little to clarify the truth, only deepening suspicions about Marco's intentions. Lawyers, including Guillermo Jimenez representing Paula and Juan Manuel Medina representing Sibora, argued that Marco was attempting to manipulate the judicial system to lessen his culpability. Sibora Gagani's case is currently being processed at Torremolinos Court Number 3. Marco R.G. is detained in Huelva prison. Under investigation for 2 counts of murder, Spain's national police continue to verify Marco's claims, particularly his Albanian mafia story. But with physical evidence like the knife, the body, and the builder's testimony, he is unlikely to escape conviction. Sibora's family, though devastated, has finally found closure after 9 years. They are seeking the maximum penalty for Marco, who faces up to 25 years in prison for each murder. The family's lawyers are working to ensure justice is served and Sibora's story is fully told. The Sibora Gagani case serves as a stark warning about gender-based violence and the dangers of toxic relationships. Marco R.G., with his history of violence, targeted women who rejected him, turning their refusals into motives for murder. The case also highlights how the persistence of victims' families and the judicial system can deliver justice, even after years of delay. The poster of Sibora at the police station, though a small detail, played a pivotal role in prompting Marco's confession. Cooperation between Italian and Spanish police, along with community support, was crucial in resolving the case. Sibora Gagani's death is a tragedy, but her story is a testament to the power of truth. After 9 years of being hidden, her body was found, and her killer faces justice. This case reminds us that, though darkness may conceal the truth for a time, light will eventually find its way. That concludes today's case. Thank you for following along, and we hope you found it engaging. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated on the latest cases. See you next time.